So for the first time ever, Monday Night Raw is streaming everywhere on the planet at the same exact time via Netflix. I think they said somewhere around 80% of Earth had access to Raw last night. And I got to thinking at one point, people are watching this, and I'm watching it in the Central Time Zone in the U.S., so 7 o'clock. People are watching this at all different parts of the day and night across the globe. I've got some thoughts. You've got some thoughts. I want to hear yours and give you some of mine first. So the first match, Reigns Solo, I thought was an incredible match. So many near falls. Kevin Owens is such an incredible heel. Reigns wins, of course. If you haven't seen it, there's a spoiler. Rock comes out, presents Reigns with the Ulafala from Solo. So there's that. Really a PLE type match. Really the whole show was a PLE type show. So Reigns now has the Ulafala. Owens comes out, does his thing. We keep that story building. I kept waiting on Rock to turn on Roman. Never happened. I can see why. But let me say this before you dive into something else. Rock opens the show, and some people are saying he destroyed months and months of storylines with that behind-the-curtain promo, or I guess handshaking with Netflix he did. But I don't know. I'm fine with it. We all know it's a storyline, but people are upset. Interested to know what you think about that. Secondly, Cena comes out. Cena has started his retirement run. Comes out with a huge pop. Going to be a lot of pop for Cena during this last run. But one thing he hinted at, is he going to win that 17th title? You talk about a hot button issue. For him to do that, and he said this last night, he hasn't won a match in a couple thousand days apparently. I didn't realize that. But for him to win this 17th record-breaking championship, he's going to have to win the Rumble. Now, do you want him to win the Rumble? I'm torn on that. I don't know. I will say this. I do want his last match, that maybe in December. I want his last match. Let's see a CM Punk John Cena match on the Royal Rumble. We got a promo ad during the show. Royal Rumble is going to be in Saudi Arabia. Not totally sure how I feel about that. Obviously here in the U.S., it's good to see stuff go overseas. But from a personal standpoint, for me to get to events, I can get to London, I can get to Australia. Getting to Saudi is a whole different thing from the States. So they're moving Rumble. I'm hoping they don't move Mania there. But at some point, it may happen. Riyadh season, get with the program. That's what they're doing. There's so much money, and they're going to put an actual relevant PLE, Royal Rumble, in Saudi. All right, Rhea Ripley won the championship. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. I think Liv Morgan is the wrestler of the year for the men or women for 2024. Didn't really want to see her lose it, but I love to see Rhea with it. She's obviously going to kill it. And then Taker comes out, and I thought when he rode the bike by that he was just going to ignore Rhea Ripley, but he came back by and acknowledged her, trotted him out just for that brief moment. It was a good touch. Every time that ding or dong goes off, you're going to get pop, and they saved it for that moment. Obviously, it was the right decision. Then we saw a backstage promo with Chad Gable and the Creeds. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't get into the Creed brothers. I've tried. Those guys just come off as such doofuses. They're incredible athletes, but character-wise, I get the mic out of their hands. I'm not seeing it. Maybe they'll come around. I don't know, but this thing with Gable and Ivy Nile and the Creeds, it's either over my head or it's just not good. One of the two. It's just not for me. On that topic, did everyone see the commercial with Alpha Academy with Chad Gable and Otis, and they were doing an ad for Cricket Wireless? Was that odd to anybody else or just me? Doesn't matter. Just noticed it. Travis Scott comes out, and he's going to walk down the steps in the Intuit Dome with Jey Uso. Travis Scott was smoking a doobie, walking down the steps. Then you look, and also he doesn't have it. I know it's Netflix. I know we can get away with a few more things on Netflix. That just seemed pointless and sort of useless to me. And speaking of that match with Jay and Drew, that was the flattest match of the night. And I've gone to several WrestleManias. There's always a match that follows a lot of hype stuff. That's the downer that people are just tired and tired of cheering and they want to sit down. That was the match. I'll be honest with you. I fell asleep. I don't know who won. I fell asleep on the couch for 15 minutes. It didn't seem like the crowd felt it. You may think differently. Let me know. And then here comes Hulk Hogan. Hogan comes out with Jimmy Hart and gets relentlessly booed. Now, it's probably because he came out with Trump and they're in LA, one of the most liberal cities in the country. But I've heard him get booed before, even in person. This was relentless from that LA crowd. What do you think about that? What's your take on Hogan? I'm a Hogan guy because I grew up watching Hogan. He's the reason I'm still a wrestling fan today. And frankly, like this or not, no Hogan, no Raw. Lastly, Punk and Rollins, that lived up to a PLE type match. Using each other's finishers. Punk wins in a clean finish, which I was stoked about. Was worried for a little bit we weren't going to get a clean finish, but I thought it was a great finish and really told a great story of what those two have been through in and outside of wrestling. So that was the first Raw on Netflix. What do you think? Interested to see your thoughts. Drop them in the comments, and we'll talk more about the next one in a week.